Are you working a job and just dreaming of the day that you can just hand in that resignation? If you're like most people, you're probably sick of the 9 to 5 grind. Maybe it's just the hours, maybe it's the industry, or maybe you're just tired of answering to someone else. So if you're serious about starting your own business, you're probably itching to get started. And you might even have that resignation letter drafted and ready to go. But the honest truth is starting your own business isn't easy. So before you go and fire off that email, make sure to watch this whole video to make sure that you get your ducks in a row before going off and starting that business. So let's get into it. So first things first, and most importantly, you need to make sure that you're financially stable. Now, this might seem like an obvious point, but financial stability is one of the most common causes of failure in small businesses and one of the hardest to account for properly. Being financially stable is more than just making sure you have the capital to buy equipment you need for your business. It's about making sure you've got enough saved up to cut off your main income stream and work on your business. You can't expect to turn a profit in your first month. In fact, it takes several years to turn a profit depending on your industry. If it's going to take you a couple of years for your new business to match your income from your 9 to 5, do you have enough savings to support you and your family until then? While we're talking about money, let's talk about your business plan. Before you even consider handing in your letter of resignation, you need to put together one hell of a business plan. I'm sure you've heard this old phrase before. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's never been more accurate when it comes to talking about starting your own business. The reason so many businesses go under is because of cash flow issues. But these cash flow issues are usually due to oversights caught when you write your business plan. You need to make sure that your business plan is as detailed as possible, especially when it comes to unexpected overheads, cash reserves, and future growth. A great real-life example of this is what happened to Blockbuster and Netflix in the year 2000. Now, if you don't know, the Netflix co-founder offered to sell the company to the rental giant for over $50 million, which Blockbuster just turned down. Part of a business plan is thinking about short-term and long-term growth, regularly revisiting your goals and how you're going to get to them. If you're not adapting and improving your business plan, you're going to end up complacent and stagnant. Netflix had a more comprehensive business plan and better long-term growth and expansion concept. And ultimately, that's why we've all got their apps on our phones and not Blockbusters. If you're in the process of writing a business plan for a business you want to start, there's no substitute for sitting down with a business consultant or financial planner. While we're on the topic of business plans, let's talk about target demographics. Obviously, you're going to cover your target audience in your business plan, but I want to emphasize just how important it is to know your target audience inside out. Target demographics are the key to success, and it's arguably the thing you should spend the most time nutting out. You need to know where your target audience will be, you need to know what they're doing, how to communicate with them, and most importantly, how to sell to them. It's all well and good knowing your target audience is middle-aged parents, for instance, but there's so much variance even in that demographic. Everything from the platforms you use to reach out to them to how you speak to them will make a massive difference to your success as a business. One of the big reasons companies like Apple are so successful is that they know everything about their target demographic, their psychographics, and how to sell to them. Now, just because your business seems good on paper and you've got a good target demographic ironed out, you need to make sure that the product or service will actually sell. This is something I see all too often. People get so excited about the idea of a product or service that they just jump in blindly without doing any market research. Market research is the key to finding out how saturated the market is and whether a business has any hope of lasting. One of the easiest ways to do some basic market research is to Google whether anyone in your community runs a business similar to the one you're trying to start. Let's say you're trying to start a pool cleaning company. Now, if there's only one company in a city of 40,000 people, chances are you're not going to be struggling for business too much. On the other hand, if you see a commercial property going up for sale that's smack bang in the middle of two existing restaurants, odds are that any restaurant you try and open in that spot is going to struggle. Market research is tough. It's one of the hardest parts of starting a business. Location, the economy, timing, and your product will all have a massive impact on whether an otherwise great business concept will succeed. Ultimately, you can't control the economy and surrounding businesses, but the more due diligence and market research you do, the better your odds will be of success. Now, I've covered off some really important points to consider, and I have more to come. But before I go on to those, hopefully you're getting some insights and value from this video. And to be honest, you may need this video as a future reference. So hit that subscribe button now. Go on, you know you want to because you know what YouTube's like. If you don't do it now, then you'll probably never see my content or content like it again. Now, let's get back to the things you need to consider before leaving your job to start a business. Even with the perfect idea and business plan, it doesn't make a difference if no one knows you exist, which is why you need to allocate a marketing budget. You know the old adage, I'll just work and people will come. It's the famous last words of thousands of failed businesses. And you know, it almost makes sense to put the marketing on the sidelines at the beginning. Money's tight and you're still getting the hang of being a business owner. So you'll find the time for marketing eventually, right? And that's the mistake. More often than not, by the time you're ready to market your business, you should already have a constant stream of customers. That's why you need to get your marketing done as soon as possible. I completely understand that there's a lot of things you need to budget for when starting a business, like insurance, licenses, and equipment. But I promise you that marketing is another thing you need to budget for, especially early on. Now, here's the bit that gets overlooked all the time. Your lifestyle will change completely when you start a business. You know, in some ways, a 9 to 5 is easy. You rock up, you punch in, you do your work, and you clock out. That's all you have to worry about. But that all goes out the window when you run your own business. For a while, consistent hours will be a thing of the past. There's going to be nights where you're going to be burning the midnight oil, just trying to get the endless list of things done. And at the start, there's going to be no one else to rely on. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, but it's the truth. Your lifestyle is going to change completely. This is something you need to really consider because not everyone does. Even outside of finances, if you've got a young family, you're going to be sacrificing a lot of time to get the business off the ground. That's how you get those people at the pub talking about their $1 million ideas that they've never pursued. The lifestyle change is a big shift. You need to be aware of it and be prepared to make sacrifices. But if your idea is strong and your business plan is solid, it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. Now, Uncle Jimmy's going to be honest here, and this is the bit that sucks. Not every new business is going to flourish, and sometimes you just need to know when to call it quits. Guys, too many people think that failure is a bad word, especially in business, but that's just not the case. The fact is, not every business is going to end up as an ASX listed company. Some businesses are going to fold, and it's not always your fault. What's important to know is when it's time to close the doors and move on to the next idea. Now, I'm not saying you should close up shop the second things get hard, but sometimes continuing to try and run a business can take a huge mental, physical, and financial toll on you and your family. Just keep this in the back of your mind, guys. There's multiple ways to approach winding down a business. Your business can be sold with or without assets, or passed on or merged with another company. Just make sure to speak to a business consultant or a financial advisor before making any of these final decisions. Now, even though this video is about quitting your job and starting your own business, the fact is sometimes that's not always the best option because some businesses will require all of your time, attention, and focus. It's not the case for every business, but it's really worth considering whether quitting your job is the right option for you. Sometimes it's best to just reduce your hours working at your current job and slowly work on your business on the side. Now, I know this might come as a bitter pill to swallow for some people, especially if you're looking for a chance to fire off that resignation email. But you need to know when to go full time with your business and when to divide your time evenly between your current job and your new business. And finally, remember to know the difference between burning boats and burning bridges. Sometimes you can do all the prep in the world, and what's missing is the courage to take the plunge. You might think you're doing the right thing, not putting all your eggs in the same basket and being responsible, but sometimes by not going for it, by not jumping in with both feet or committing completely, you're doing yourself a huge disservice by putting your dreams on hold to continue working in an unfulfilling job. That's when you've got to take the leap, burn the boats, and commit fully to your business. Just make sure you're not burning any bridges in the process. I get it. I know we've all had the fantasy of giving our boss a peace of mind on the way out the door, but the reality is not all businesses succeed. And that's why you don't want to ruin any working relationships on the way out, especially if you're risking months or even years of savings and hard work on a business idea that may not even come to pass. So there you have it, guys. Some of the best tips for quitting your 9 to 5 and starting your own business. If you take these tips on board and you start working on them, you're going to have the best chance of starting a successful business that lasts long into the future. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking of starting a business but haven't considered how the economy is going to affect you, whether it will hold up and whether a recession is incoming, then you're already behind the 8 ball. But don't worry, I've got this great video here about preparing for a recession, and I've also linked it in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and good luck.